All right, welcome back to another episode of the Cleveland Real Estate Podcast. My name is Sebastian Lorenzo, the host, and we are here with Tom Garuccio of the Garuccio Group at Remax Above and Beyond. How are you today, Tom?
Good, good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being on.
Awesome. Yeah, not a problem. So why don't you just start off by, talking a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the business, and then of course, if you want to discuss volume, that's optional.
Sure, yeah. So, I started out as a fireman paramedic for about 12 to 13 years, and, due to some health issues, that kind of was not an option. So I was looking at what else to do and gave a call to my friend Steve Junker, who's, in the business, and we just talked about real estate, and it was like, made total sense. Like, we had an hour-long conversation, and it just like, I was like, this is it. So I really dove right in. Left my full-time firefighting job in 2020. So I got licensed in 2019. A year later, I left my full-time job and went all in real estate. And I just never looked back. I mean, at the time, it was such a stressful time and a scary time. And I thought, like, what am I doing? Leaving a paycheck for, I didn't know if I would succeed, but I knew that if I just put my mind to it, that it would work out. And, so I went all in. So last year, 2022, my third year, I sold 67 homes, just shy of 16
Oh,
million. So it's been treating me well, and I just can't wait to see what
yeah,
comes now that I'm putting this team together. So
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That's an impressive number. We'll get into that in a bit. But one question I like to ask a lot of the agents that I have on the podcast is, what do you love about being a real estate agent in Cleveland? Like, what's your why?
I love the freedom it gives me in a couple ways. So of course, the freedom to be my own boss and, you know, make my own schedule, which is debatable amongst realtors,
Right,
but more so even
right,
the freedom to just be creative and do things that are unique. And it's funny because we're all really all the realtors and stuff are in the same business, but you can do it so many different ways. And it really just it gives me a chance to use those creative outlets, to use my background in photography and videography, to use my background in marketing, and just kind of run it the way I want to. And that's honestly my favorite part. And the people. It's nice to be out and about, talking with people, meeting new people, um, you
yeah,
know, hanging out, having fun. So
yeah, for sure. Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, as I was doing research and kind of looking at your background a little bit, I saw you're a top 5% agent nationwide. So it's safe to say that there's many agents that can take a thing or two from you to improve their business. So, and when we spoke offline, you'd mentioned you had three pieces of advice for newer agents. So, what are those three pieces of advice?
yeah, my first piece of advice of the three is to find a mentor. I come across now,
Yeah.
especially that I have a team going, that people they have this idea that they should do it on their own sometimes. And I didn't do it on my own. I had a mentor. I still do, and I'll always be looking for mentors because once you get to one point, you need a new mentor to get you to the next point. So finding a good
All right.
mentor, and not just someone that you look at and say, oh yeah, he does a lot of business or whatever. Someone who you can relate to, someone who does business the way you feel like you want to do business. For me, like I
Yeah.
mentioned, when I first got into business, I called my friend Steve Junker. I joined his team. I was on it for 3 years, and I don't think I know I wouldn't be where I am today had it not been for him and that group surrounding me. So I think that's so
Yeah.
important, and that doesn't necessarily mean you have to join the team, and that definitely doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the right team leader for you. I don't want people to think
Right.
I'm saying that, but I think the important part is you are who you surround yourself with. So surround yourself with someone, or even better, multiple people who are where you want to be, who act like you want to act, who think like you want to think, and go all in, and lean on them and have them show you the ways. I mean, there's so much stuff I've learned, so much things I've done that were just didn't work or was just like stupid.
Right.
And you learn to find someone who's
Yeah.
already been down that path and say, hey, what works, what doesn't. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Um,
So, all right, so that makes a good point. So one question that I guess a lot of people might ask themselves is, all right, so an alternative to joining a team, right? If I don't want to join a team for whatever reason, I want to just be independent working for a brokerage, right? What would you suggest that how would you suggest I find a mentor? Where would I go?
I think you find people in your office, you find people on social media, you find uh, or an agent that you just did a deal with and you just liked, you got along with, you had
Yeah,
good,
for
good,
sure.
you just clicked. Um, and it doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily have to be a team leader. Like I said, it can be just someone that you get on a phone call every Monday and just say, hey, what's your goals? This is what I do with my team. We take a call once a week.
For
What's your
sure.
goals? What's your goals for the week? The next week, hey, did you meet your goals? Goals that are achievable, attainable goals that you can literally check off a checklist. I sent this newsletter. I made 3 videos for social media, whatever, and you check them off. Because when you don't have
Sure.
someone keeping you accountable, it's real easy just to be like, I don't feel like it. And I see that too
Yeah,
with
for sure.
me. People think that
Yeah.
that I wouldn't be that way, but it is. It's easy to just get lazy or just not feel like it. And so when I know
Yeah.
I got a call on, Monday or Tuesday and I got to go over my goals, you best believe when it's Friday, I'm looking at my goal list going, I don't want to be at my own team meeting saying I didn't meet my goals, right? So
Yeah.
it's helpful for me and really for anybody because the most driven person in the world sometimes just feels like taking a little break, and that's okay too. Don't get me wrong, but keeping accountable and yeah, that's just
Yeah.
super important. So
Yeah. All right. So the first, I guess, step in being an agent, rather the first piece of advice that you have is finding a mentor. What's the second thing?
So the next one is being consistent, and I know that's obvious and probably cliche and whatever, but it's so unbelievably true, and it's like the number one
Right.
thing I see that people are inconsistent. And I think a lot of times people don't even realize they're inconsistent because they give up too early. You can't do something
Yeah.
for a week or two and expect it to change your life or your business. You have to do something for a year or 2 or 3. Um, so it's
Yeah.
being consistent long term. It's like we have to get out of this mindset that this is going to be quick and we're going to move quick.
For sure.
You are
For
building a
sure.
brand, you are building a business. Get out there and be consistent. So um,
Yeah.
I think what this goes along with is something that I always preach is finding what you're good at. So it's very hard
Yeah.
to be consistent with something you're not good at or you don't like. For me, one thing I do a lot of prospecting, some cold calling. I don't mind doing it. I work with people who love cold calling. I
Yeah.
work and guide people who absolutely hate it. If it's something you hate, you will never do it consistently long term. So look at yourself at what you like. For me, I love video. I love photography. It's easy for me to put out videos, all different types of videos, because I love doing it. I know I can do it consistently. I even have my own video studio. That's how much I love it. So that's
Yeah.
something I like. Another person might be interior design. Maybe someone's really good at design, and you can start a blog or a an email, a weekly email newsletter, social media guide. Anything. But if you love it, you'll stick with it. And so that's what I mean by
Yeah.
consistency. Find what you're doing and do it over and over again, literally forever.
Yeah. So going back to that cold calling and then that sort of prospecting. I mean, some people dread it. Most people dread it. I'll say. Some people like it. Right. You're one of the few. So what are some other things that I guess what would be an alternative or I guess alternative to cold calling, but something that other agents might look at that could help them get more business, and also if they were consistent, that would help them achieve I guess new heights in their business.
Yeah, and I think that's a good question, and it's a question I get asked all the time, and I think it's not as easy as an answer as people want. A lot of people think that
Yeah.
that I have some secret one thing that like changes everything, but the fact is, you need to again go back to figure out what you're good for, what you like, what you're good at, and then do it. So what I do specifically, and what I would recommend, the number one thing, this is a relationship business. Get out and make relationships. You have to get out of your house. You have to get out of the office, make relationships. So that might look like making calls. It might look like
Yeah.
joining the Chamber of Commerce or a men's or women's club or something within the city, maybe joining city council. Um,
Yeah.
Everyone knows
For
Quintavious
sure.
Burdett. He bags groceries, literally goes to the grocery store, bags groceries,
Yeah.
talks to people. It could be door
Yeah.
knocking, um,
That's so
newsletters,
true.
anything that you're connecting. in a human way, right?
Yeah.
So like emails and flyers and calls are good, but connecting in that human way. And that's honestly where a lot of business of mine has come from, where I've been doing things in the community, doing videos in the community, showcasing local people. Again, I love video. It's something for me that I can do consistent. And it's led to relationships, which has led to sales, direct sales, referrals. Um, so I don't think there's one thing I can say that you should do, but find what you're good at and use it
Yeah.
to make relationships.
For sure, for sure. Um, and I heard like a quote from someone. I don't remember who it was, but they said sales is a contact sport. You know, and so the more contacts you can make in a day, or in an hour, or in a week, whatever it is, um, that's going to be relative to how many sales you can make. You know, and anyway, so
Yeah, no,
that makes a good
I
point.
mean, it is
Even
a numbers game, and I think the bigger picture of it, it's some sales if you just have a product and you're just burning through trying to get someone to buy it. But realtors, we're selling ourselves. Like that's what we're selling. We're not selling a product. You're selling yourself, whether you think it or not.
right,
People want to work
yeah,
with you. So how do you do that? You be honest. You be open. You
yeah,
put their needs before yours, and
for sure,
you be what they're looking for. In this case, when what we do, it's mostly help guiding them through a process, and they do it with people they
yeah,
like. So you got to just get to
yeah,
know them and put yourself out there. And don't be afraid to put yourself out there, which kind of leads into my number three thing.
yeah. All right, actually, speaking of that, perfect. That leads us right there. So, what's the third thing? What's the third piece of
So
advice?
stop fearing rejection. And another one that this is like, yeah, no, we know, Tom, but
Yeah,
it's just so important. And I think so many people don't even realize what that they're fearing rejection. So, for example,
yeah,
that I say is like social media videos. This is another big one. So many people are like, I don't want to hear my voice. I don't want to see my face on there online. Like I'm scared. You
yeah,
are fearing.
yeah,
The deep down thing is you are afraid of what people on social media are going to think of you. You are fearing rejection. They're afraid to pick up the phone and make a
yeah,
call because they're afraid they're going to bother someone. Fearing rejection. You're afraid to send mailers because you might annoy your neighbors. Fearing rejection. It's so here's the reality. I get rejected more than probably most people out there. I put myself out there relentlessly and I get rejected
yeah,
all the time. But you know what? I don't care because, and I will say, it's not that I don't care. I do. As a person, you do care. It's not like it doesn't affect me.
yeah,
I know there's people out there who want what I have. I offer high
yep,
quality service and it's good for a lot of people, but it's not perfect for everyone. And that's okay.
right,
That's okay. So if I put a video out on social media and someone thinks it's annoying, that's okay because you know what? 10 other people found it interesting. And by taking away that fear of what some people are going to think, you can grow drastically because you realize, yeah, if I put myself out there, there's one loudmouth who's going to troll me on social media. But you know what? All your friends and family appreciate it. The people who don't, they scroll right past. And
yeah,
you just keep
100%.
putting yourself out there, keep building relationships. Some people don't want that relationship, and you just tell yourself, hey, that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah,
Keep going. I'm gonna
yeah,
find the people who do, and I'm gonna change their lives and change my life with them. And
for
when you
sure.
get over that hump and understand that it's really a freeing and good feeling, and you can help a lot of people.
Yeah. So, what are some things that I can do, like tangible activities or steps to take to overcome rejection?
So just realizing the fact that it's not as widespread as you think. And this was something that I faced when I first started doing social media video. And I keep going back on that because, again, that's like something I do frequently. It might be different for other
Hmm.
people. But I would fear that, do people find me annoying? Is this, what do people think? And that's when I realized that, like I mentioned before, people just scroll past if they're not interested. Most people aren't out to just make you feel bad or aren't out to troll you. They are there, and you know what? They're jerks,
Right.
and you can just ignore them because we
Yeah.
don't care about them. We can't sell. We
Yeah.
can't be perfect for everybody. So that person, they can move on. We don't care about them. They're dead. They're dead to you. They never existed.
Hmm.
So things you can do is just wrap your head around the fact that you are good at what you do. You're a good agent. You have something to offer. You have something to offer your friends, family. Don't let the fear of whatever it is get in the way of you being you. You know,
Yeah.
don't let the fear prevent you from picking up a phone and calling a lead. Don't let because you have something to offer. And that's what I tell my team. You are awesome agent and you have something to offer some people. Some people you don't. That's okay. Forget
Yep.
about it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That's a good point. I heard a story like an example this guy gave. He said, go and ask, and he, this is, I guess, I mean, I wouldn't recommend anybody to do this, but I guess you could. He said, go out like on a weekend and just ask 10 people for their number, like, and see how many people say no. And he said at the end of it, you're gonna have built callus like these calluses that will allow you to like approach more situations with less fear, because you've already gotten 10, maybe 10 rejections, maybe whatever it is, right? So you're just going to get more rejections probably than you're going to get
Yeah.
yeses. So
There's a book.
anyway,
There's a
so
book
that's
called Rejection Proof by I think his name's Luau Lang or something like that, and he just goes around and
mhm.
like knocks on doors and asks people to play soccer in their backyard, or can I plant a flower, or just like the most
Yeah, yeah,
random things, because he was someone who
yeah,
faced a lot of rejection, um,
yeah,
and he just that was how he got immune to it. Real
yeah,
and what he found out, and I love this part of the book. If you asked for one thing and they said no, they might give you something else. So, for example, you get a lead, you call them, um, yeah, they're not interested in listing their house, but hey, let me follow up with you. What's a good email for you? They'll probably give you an email. Now you got your newsletter going. You're keeping in touch with them. Maybe they do something. Maybe their friend or family
yeah,
doesn't. In his book, he would
yeah,
ask like, you know, can I go play soccer in your backyard? And they'd be like, no. And he'd be like, can I play soccer in your front yard? And they'd be like, okay. So it was just kind of interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true.
Kind of goes along with the
That's
story.
funny.
Something that is probably not a good story.
Yeah,
The ladies probably won't like this one, but I had a friend and he was fearless when I was younger, and he would go to the bar and he would just go girl to girl. He'd literally stand next to a girl, she'd reject him, he'd literally turn around to his friend. It was unbelievable. And I said, "Man, like how like what are you doing?" And he's like, "Tom, if I talk to 10 girls and 9 of them say no, that means one of them said yes." And it's so stupid and funny, but when you think about it,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's so accurate. Those
yeah,
9 people,
100%.
those 9 girls didn't want him, but one of them did. So,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not a
yeah,
nice story, but it's funny and it's true, you know.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. All right, so we got the three awesome pieces of advice, right? Find a mentor, find what you're good at, and be consistent, and then stop doing rejection, right? So 2023, we're basically almost through the first quarter of the first, or sorry, first quarter of 2023, right? So if I follow these three steps, or an agent follows these three steps, and they grow their business, let's just say two times, three times, whatever it is, right? What comes after? Like, should someone start a team or join a different brokerage? I guess how can an agent set themselves up for the most success?
I think that's up to the person in what you want to be. Starting a team is it's challenging. I'll tell you firsthand. I'm early on and it's challenging, but I love the mentorship part of it. So that makes sense for me, right? I like helping people and helping my team and seeing them succeed and having them to help me be accountable. That's not for everybody.
Right,
Um,
right,
you know, I think what the bigger picture is again goes back to surrounding yourself with people that have your vision. So, if you're at a
yeah,
brokerage that just maybe isn't aligning, you don't feel like you're connected there, maybe that's not the right place. Or maybe it's the opposite. You're at a
yeah,
brokerage like I am with Remax Above and Beyond. It's a great atmosphere. You're surrounded by great people. They support you. There's friendships. I mean, it's
for sure.
great. And then so a team, yeah. I mean, if you're an agent and you're a solo agent and you just feel like you're not there yet, like you have the drive, I don't understand the thought process of if you join a team that somehow your successes are less. It's not the case. You know, be where you need to be your best self because like I went back to before, people are buying you. They want you. They don't care about anything else. They want to work with you. So
Yeah,
be you.
right,
Don't try to be
for
me.
sure.
Don't try to be Sebastian. Don't try to be, whoever the top agent here.
Right,
Do you and be you because that's who your people want.
yeah,
And so surround yourself with
yeah,
those people and be at a place where you can be you fearlessly and consistently. And if you don't give up and you keep going, nothing will hold you back.
Yeah, 100%. Um, you know, I think a lot of times people get like, they get worried about joining a team because of, their success being mistaken for someone else's success. I think that's the best way to put it. And really like I'm in the mortgage business. You're in real estate, and people do want to do business with us, no matter what company we're with. If we left and when Remax and go to Keller Williams or whatever, our business will follow because people, again, they're not interested in the company. They're interested in who we are, right, and the person behind the company. So, or that works for the company. I
Right.
mean,
I don't know that I've
so
ever made a
all
sale
right,
because someone was like, "Oh, you're with Remax." Like, I mean, they're
exactly.
like, "Oh, you're Tom Garuccio. We know you," or you talk to somebody.
Yeah.
It's, um, but
Hundred
where I'm
percent.
at, I'm surrounded by great people, so it's like that's
Yeah.
great for me. And so, and a lot of
Yeah.
brokerages are like that. I mean, a lot of brokerages have a lot to
Yeah.
offer, but um,
For sure.
everyone's different. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that kind of goes back to fearing rejection. Like, oh, what if I leave? What are they going to say? What's this person going to do? If they're your friends, they're going to support
Yeah.
you. If they're not, if they don't support you, they weren't your friends anyways. Do you
Yeah.
be you
Yeah.
unapologetically, and honestly,
1000%.
that's it. I mean, that's what you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, 100% agree with you. I think this is really great advice, Tom. I really appreciate you, sharing all of this. And I think this is going to benefit a lot of not only newer agents, but also just existing agents who might be looking at making this a way better year than last year. What are some of the best ways that someone can connect with you if they were interested in, getting some mentorship from you or joining your team or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, call, text, email, social media. I'm out all over
Okay.
there. So
Yeah.
just
All right.
started up a
Cool.
YouTube channel, so I'm all over. So I'm always
Awesome.
open to talk to people. It's always confidential. Again, I don't want people to think I'm trying to like secretly sell my team here because I'm very picky, and I want people who talk with me to be picky too. Like if someone's coming to me,
Yeah.
we're both
100%.
going to be a good fit. I do things a
Yeah.
little different where I don't look to just get anybody. I want people who
Yeah.
fit, you know, and I want
For
me to
sure.
fit for
For
them.
sure.
It's two ways.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's a good point. Cool. Yeah, and I'll leave all the contact information in the podcast notes so anybody can just it's hyperlinked and they can click away. But yeah, Tom, thanks so much for being on this podcast. Looking forward to keeping in touch and seeing where everything goes for you. And that's it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the Cleveland Real Estate Podcast. If you're a real estate agent in the Cleveland and surrounding areas, reach out to us on Instagram at Cleveland RE Podcast or send us an email at clerepodcast@gmail.com. And if you enjoyed the show, be sure to follow the podcast so you're notified of new episodes going forward. See you next time.